Hello everyone, and this is video 2 of week 7, which is The Moose Belongs to Me. This moose belongs to me. Now in this video we're going to have a look at the vocab. Obviously we're going to start with the word of the week, but there's so much interesting vocab in this book that we're going to take a little bit of time to look at that as well. So can we have a drum roll please? And I will introduce the word of the week. So drum roll please. And the word of the week is compromise. Okay, so let's put that here on our sheet which says word of the week, and it is compromise. Now let's have a look where it is in the story. It's quite near the end. It says, with that in mind, he and the moose reached a compromise. The moose would agree to all of Wilfred's rules whenever it suited him. So they reached a compromise. So what does compromise mean? Let's have a look in the dictionary. So when we have a dictionary, we have to look up the words in, that's correct, alphabetical order. And the word compromise starts with the letter C followed by the letter O. So we are looking for the CO words. So let's go through the dictionary, the alphabet till we get to letter C. A, B, C, ooh, that was easy. Then we need to look at the CO words and then the COM words. Now, as usual, I'm about to say, oh my goodness, I need to get myself some reading glasses. There we go, there it is. Compromise. It's a noun and it means an agreement reached by each side making concessions. So basically what that means is if you've got two groups who are two groups who are sort of having an argument about something, when they reach a compromise, it means they agree, but both sides have had to give a little bit. So I've summarised that by saying here in our meaning, it's a noun, so you reach a compromise, and it's when you settle an argument by meeting in the middle. So I'll give you an example of a compromise. Sometimes I say to my children, or especially my youngest, it's 7 o'clock is bedtime, and he will say, but I want to go to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm not tired yet. So sometimes we might reach a compromise and he can go to bed at 7:30. So that's kind of meeting in the middle. I wanted 7 and he wanted 8, but we've both given a little bit. He's going to bed a little bit earlier than he wants to, and I'm letting him go to bed a little bit later than I want him to, but we've met in the middle at 7:30. So it's when you both give a little bit so that you can meet in the middle. So I've got some words that mean the same, some words that are synonyms, and some words that are antonyms. So I'm going to start with happy medium. Now, some of our words can actually be phrases like this. For example, happy medium. Now this again means meeting in the middle, so it's one of the synonyms. You might say, we both wanted different bedtimes, but we reached a happy medium and decided that Jamie could go to bed at 7:30. I really wanted him to go to bed at 7 and he wanted to go to bed at 8, but we reached a happy medium. We met in the middle. So let's have a look at another one. Find a middle ground. Now this is also a synonym. So that's where you find something you can agree on in the middle. So it might be something like what you're going to eat for dinner. Say you're deciding you're going to go out for dinner, and one family says, I would really like to have curry tonight. So one person in the family says they'd like curry, and another person says, well, actually, I prefer to have pasta. So you might find a middle ground by going to somewhere like Zach's that sells curry and pasta. The curry people might have preferred to go to Merchant Masala because that's a curry restaurant. Maybe they've got a better selection of curries. And the people who wanted pasta may have preferred to go to Figo's because that's more of an Italian restaurant. They've got more choices of pasta. But if you find a middle ground, you're both happy. You both made a little bit of a compromise there and you go into Zach's. Okay, now let's have a look at this one. Disagreement. Oh, now I'll put this in with the antonyms because that means you haven't found a middle ground or found a compromise. You're still arguing with each other. So you might say, I want to go for a curry, and the other people are saying, I want to go for a pasta, and you're just disagreeing. You haven't found a middle ground. You haven't been able to compromise. So that would be the opposite. Now let's have a look here. We have got give and take. That is also a synonym. So you might say, well, I gave a little bit and I took a little bit, which means I kind of met in the middle. So you might say, I really did want to go for a curry, but I understand that you wanted to go for a pasta, and if we went to the curry place, there would be nothing for you to eat there. So yeah, we'll give and take. We'll sort of work it out between ourselves. I will relax my rule a little bit. I'm still going to eat a curry, but we're going to go to a restaurant where you'll be happy as well. So that's another word or another phrase that means the same as compromise. Now we have got the word stalemate. Now this is a very interesting word, but I'm going to put that with the antonyms. Now that one means you can't come to some sort of decision. So both sides are just arguing and they can't decide. So you might say, right, well, I am absolutely certain that I want to go for a curry and I will not go to Zach's because that's not the best curry, and I will not go to the Italian restaurant. And the other person said, well, I'm definitely not going to go to Zach's either. I really want to go to Figo's. And you both can't decide. So you just stop and you don't even carry on arguing. You just, both of you refuse. That's like a stalemate. So again, that would be the opposite to reaching a compromise. Okay. Now I've got a couple more, which I will just put in. Another synonym could be settlement. You reach a settlement. So you reach a decision where you've both settled, so you've both come to some sort of compromise. So that could also be another word for compromise. Or you could meet halfway. That's another way. We could say a compromise. So, you know, we've met in the middle, or we've met halfway and found an answer that we're both happy with. But another antonym could be something like argument, because argument is the same kind of thing as disagreement. You still haven't come to any solution. You're still arguing. A compromise is where there is some sort of solution agreed. So, okay, we have got compromise, which is when you settle an argument by meeting in the middle. And then we've got the synonyms, which is happy medium, find a middle ground, give and take, settlement, or meet halfway. And some antonyms, which are disagreement, stalemate, and argument. Now we're going to go back and look at some of the other vocabulary in the book, because there's quite a lot here that you may not be familiar with. So let's just have a look through. I will find them as we go along. The first couple of pages were okay, but okay. It says here, the moose ignored Rule 7. Do we know what ignored means? Well, it actually means that you're deliberately not taking any notice of something. So if I ignore, for example, if my phone was ringing, I can hear my phone ringing, and I should really answer it. Somebody obviously wants to talk to me. But if I ignore it, I don't answer it. I just let it go away. I let the noise carry on ringing and I don't take any notice of it. So when you ignore something, you deliberately don't take any notice of it. Then we have the word here, particularly. It says here, the moose was particularly poor on Rule 7. Particularly is a nice kind of fancy way of saying very or extremely. So you can say, oh, it was a particularly nice day today. Today stood out amongst other days. It was special. It was particularly nice weather. So using that in your writing is really quite interesting. It's definitely a bit more of an interesting word than using the word very. So there we go, particularly. Now, this is an interesting word, maintaining. So the whole sentence says here, Rule 7, subsection B, maintaining a certain proximity to home. So in this case, maintaining means kind of keeping or sticking with. So if I need to maintain a certain, I don't know, temperature in the room, I might need to turn on the air conditioner if it gets too hot, or if it starts to get too cold, I might need to turn on the heater. I've got to keep it. I've got to keep it at the same, so I'm maintaining it. And then we've got the word proximity here, and that's a great word. That means a sort of closeness to. So if I live in close proximity to the plaza, that means I live close to the plaza. So I'm quite nearby to the plaza. You might live in close proximity to the bus stop, or you might live in close proximity to school, something like that. So it's where you're close to something. Right, let's have a look at another word. Oh, providing. So it says here, he had no trouble with Rule 11, providing shelter. So providing, that is when we we basically give something to somebody that needs something. So you might say, I will provide you with pencils and some paper to do your homework. Or I might provide you with your lunch today. You don't need to bring your own, I will give it to you. So he is giving shelter there to Wilfred. He's giving him something. It's to give something to somebody that they need. And then what have we got? Oh, there was another particularly here. I think Oliver Jeffers likes the words particularly. He uses it in a lot of his books. So again, that's a particularly long walk, is a very long walk. And he made a terrible discovery. Now, discovery is a word that we use an awful lot because we live in Discovery Bay. But what does it mean? Well, it means when you find something for the first time. So you might say, do you know what? I went out walking yesterday and I discovered this amazing little stream that ran down the hillside. It's the first time you'd ever found it. Next time you go out, you wouldn't say, I discovered the stream again, because next time you go out, you know it's there. But the first time you find something, you might say, I've discovered it. Now, other people might know it's there, but if you haven't seen it before, then you are discovering it for the first time. Or you could make a discovery. You could work out that when you mix bicarbonate of soda with vinegar, you get a really fizzy volcanic reaction. So you're discovering, you've made a discovery, you've found something out, something that you didn't know before. So that's basically the meaning of discovery. And then this brilliant word, dumbstruck. I love this word. It literally means to be struck dumb. And dumb is where, dumb doesn't mean stupid. It can do in some circumstances, but in this circumstance, it means where you can't speak. If you say somebody's dumb, sometimes it means they literally cannot speak. They have no words. They can't get their words out. So if you've been struck dumb, it means you are so shocked you cannot get your words out. And I have to say, that doesn't happen to me very often. I usually have something to say, but every now and again something will happen that is so shocking that even I cannot think of what to say. And I would say I've been dumbstruck. I've been struck dumb or dumbstruck. Let's have a look. Have we got any more words? Oh, enraged. Now we've got embarrassed and enraged. We actually used the word embarrassed as our word of the week last term. And that means kind of ashamed, you feel a bit guilty, you feel a bit like everybody's looking at you, perhaps a bit humiliated. So he's embarrassed because he's really upset that Marcel doesn't reply to him and doesn't heal. But he's also enraged, and that basically means he's full of anger. And again, that's a great word to use if